Everyone looking to buy in Philly wants to find that perfect neighborhood. You know the one. It pretty much has it all. What if I told you there was a place that boasts incredible property value, a killer social scene, like right on Main Street, and some of the best outdoor access in the entire city? That place is Manayunk, but with its notoriously steep hills and a reputation for a party-hardy crowd, is it truly the best of all worlds? Or are there some serious trade-offs you need to know about before you even think about making an offer? So let's find out. If you're considering a move to Philadelphia, the name Manayunk has probably popped up a couple times. It's a neighborhood that kind of looks like a European hill town, but it has a vibe that is 100% Philly. So it seems to promise this incredible balance, like the energy of a city, the charm of a small town, a price tag that won't make you cry and empty your wallet. But as anyone who's ever house hunted kind of knows, the perfect place usually has a catch. So today we're getting into it. We're exploring the Main Street steals. That's kind of digging it, by that I mean we're digging into the real numbers on its home prices and getting our cardio in to talk about the incredible outdoor access. And pretty much also we're going to talk about all the things that you won't see in the glossy brochures. We're talking about the hills, the parking nightmare, the unique social fabric of the neighborhood that's become pretty much one of Philly's most popular playgrounds for I would say for first-time home buyers and for young professionals. So by the end of this, you're going to kind of know if Manayunk is the right move for you or not. Let's start with the heart and soul of Manayunk, which is Main Street. This isn't just a street, it's basically the neighborhood's living room. So it's lined with historic buildings. It has this really vibrant, bustling energy that's really hard to resist. It's packed with all kinds of cool boutiques, art galleries, and surprising number of furniture shops too, actually. But makes it kind of a go-to spot for anyone who's looking to style their new place. So the food scene here is also a huge draw. And Lucky's last chance, I'm talking to you. Love your burgers. You basically have everything from cozy cafes to morning coffee to high-end restaurants, and if you wanted to use that for date night or lively bars just to hang out with your friends on the weekend, it's kind of the street where you can pretty much grab brunch, do some shopping, meet up with friends and dinner for drinks, and all do it within just a few blocks. So for a neighborhood that's less than a square mile, the walkability is a huge part of its charm. And that energy gets cranked up for its events. The big one is the Manayunk Arts Festival every June. It's the largest outdoor juried arts festival in the tri-state area. So it draws up to 100,000 to 150,000 people to kind of check out work from over 300 different artists. So it completely transforms the neighborhood into this massive open air art gallery. And it kind of shows you just how creative this place actually is. Another cool festival that I really like is the Manayunk Food Festival. And then there's also, which is basically where they line Main Street with a bunch of food trucks. And then you can just kind of pop around from truck to truck. It does get a little crowded though, so you are gonna have to get there early to get the exact food truck that you want. And then also, I do like the dog day of summer too, where basically everybody in the neighborhood brings their dogs down to Main Street, and it becomes a very dog-friendly event. So dog bakeries, dog clothing suppliers, dog discounts for any kind of dog-related services, all kinds of cool stuff. Great festival. It's a great street for festivals, and they do happen often. Okay, let's talk money. For first-time buyers, Manayunk presents a compelling financial picture. As of early 2026, the median home price is kind of hovering around that $425,000, $450,000 mark. So while that has gone up, it's a lot more accessible than neighborhoods like Rittenhouse Square in Center City, where basically $500,000 might get you started. So this kind of makes Manayunk a strategic entry point into the Philly housing market if you are a first-time home buyer. So for sellers, on the other hand, this is a nice steady appreciation, and that has meant a great return for anybody who sits and holds and uses their real estate, whether it's a primary residence or an investment. It's going to give you the good ROI that you were hoping for. So what does that money get you as a buyer? The housing is mostly classic Philly row houses, many of which there's tons of history and character, and then there's also going to be mixed in with some new construction. So you're not just getting a better price, you're often getting a home with a story on like a quiet tree-lined street, just like a short walk away from where all the action is on Main Street. With a median household income of like, I'd say like 100,000-ish to 115,000, this area is kind of like it's like a magnet for professionals who are like looking to build equity instead of just like paying rent to infinity. So let's talk about where Manayunk actually kind of pulls away from the pack. For a place that's got such a strong urban vibe to it, its access to green space is absolutely phenomenal. So like the entire neighborhood is built along the Schuylkill River, and the historic Manayunk Canal towpath exists, and I'll tell you about that. The towpath is basically like a gorgeous flat trail, perfect for a walk, a run, bike ride, whatever you, rollerblade, skateboard, doesn't matter. And it goes all the way along the Schuylkill River. And so you get to do anything you want with a water view, and it's gorgeous. And if you just happen to need an even bigger dose of nature, you have access to what the Wissahickon Valley Park, which is literally like right next door. So you can basically, we're talking about like 1,800 acres of park with over 50 miles of trails and hiking. And get a load of this, even horseback riding. Yes, you heard that right. Even horseback riding in Philadelphia. It's a weird thing to say out loud now that I'm saying it. But this Wissahickon Park, actually, it's going to give you the total escape from the city that you're looking for. And it's like right in your backyard. I mean, you can, and people have gotten lost in this park. So it's that big. The outdoor focus has made Manayunk one of Philly's most dog-friendly neighborhoods. You'll see people and their dogs pretty much everywhere. So even the hills, which we'll get to in a second, the hills do play a part in the neighborhood's, I would say, serious cycling culture. I mean, you're gonna see the bikes more than the dog. The famous Manayunk Wall is basically a legendary punishing climb up a hill in which pro cyclers used to race for years on. And even today, you're still gonna see cyclists training on those inclines even today. All right, you can't talk about Manayunk without talking about the hills. And no, it's not an exaggeration. Some of these streets are unbelievably steep. And while they create that beautiful, picture-perfect look, they do bring some real-world challenges that we're gonna talk about. Just walking home with groceries can feel like a full-on workout. In the wintertime, an icy or snowy street can often make driving feel like a death sentence, or, you know, a death wish, if you will. For some, it's a charming quirk that kind of keeps them in shape, cool. But for others, it's kind of a daily hassle that they could probably live without. So if you buy a home on the higher up area towards like Ridge Avenue, you're kind of rewarded with quieter streets and easier parking, which is great, but you do pay for it with that brutal walk back up the hill from Main Street after a night out. So you just gotta be honest with yourself about which side you're on. And honestly, if you do get closer to Ridge Avenue and you don't want that brutal walk back up the hill, go out to the bars on Main Street or whatever you wanna do, and then call an Uber, and then it's like $4 and you can get back up the hill, no big deal. So it's not that awful. If the hills are Manayunk's most famous feature, then the parking situation is probably its most infamous feature. It is notoriously and legendarily difficult the closer you are to Main Street. So, because the streets here they're narrow, so finding a spot is like kind of just like Fishtown, a competitive sport, especially on evenings and weekends when people from all over the city, they come to hang out here in Manayunk on Main Street. And since many of the old row homes were like built that way before cars were like a thing, finding a property with a dedicated driveway or a garage is like a huge selling point. For most homeowners, though, the off-street parking is a rare, precious luxury, and it will definitely help your property values to have that as opposed to not having it. So for people that don't have the on-street or the off-street parking, residents should expect to get used to circling the block for what feels like an eternity, but after getting your car's like side view mirror kind of clipped on a narrow street, which I've heard is called the Manayunk Special. It's practically kind of like a rite of passage, if you will. Not a great one, but there are paid lots, but they can get a little expensive. And the recent building boom, which you'll see has kind of turned a lot of these places into like new apartments, and more units means more cars, and that kind of increases the squeeze a little bit more on the neighborhood as far as space for parking goes. So if you are going to need a car, I would highly recommend that you have some kind of plan as to what you're going to do with that car on a daily basis in regard to parking and accessing your house and getting to and from your house to your car and so on. So as long as you got a plan though, it should work out. So let's talk about the vibe of the neighborhood. Manayunk's neighborhood energy is like a huge pro for a lot of people, but it can easily be a con depending on what you're looking for. So consider this. With a median age of like 33 to 36, there are tons of young professionals here. So Manayunk is gonna have a distinctly youthful vibe as opposed to some of the other neighborhoods in the city. The nightlife is a huge part of the appeal, which means that on weekends, the areas around Main Street will get loud and crowded, obviously. So if you're looking for like this like quiet, settled down, family focused neighborhood, might not be your spot if you're closer to Main Street. I'd say farther away would probably work better. Also keep this in mind. The very things that make it exciting can also be a drawback for some residents. So some people might, like I said, some people might want some peace and quiet, and then the other people might want the party. So it's got this like urban suburban mix, and that definitely kind of like leans hard towards the urban on the weekend sometimes. So is Manayunk the perfect balance? So after weighing the good, the bad, the hilly, is Manayunk the right call? The answer is, it kind of really depends on what you're looking for. So Manayunk is a perfect balance for you if you're like the first time home buyer and you're a young professional and you want to build a social life and have amazing outdoor access and just kind of just be you, then I'd say it's for you if you love the idea of all of that. And if you like the idea of walking to a dozen different restaurants and then going for like a long bike ride along the river the next morning and enjoying all that, then I'd say it's for you. I'd say it's for you if you see home prices as a smart investment and are willing to trade easy parking for the energy of a vibrant community. And I'd also say it's for you if you see a steep hill and you're just not fazed by it. It's not really a burden to you because like kind of comes as like a free gym membership, if you will. But don't forget, with a hill comes a great view, and there are some amazing views. However, on the other hand here, it's probably not the place for you if you kind of depend on your car every single day and it needs to be in your driveway, unless you have off-street parking. Probably not for you if you kind of like crave silence and predictability, or if your ideal weekend is like spent far away from crowds. Definitely not for you. So what do you think? If you're a homeowner in Manayunk, what's been your experience? I'd love to hear your thoughts on what your experience is with like the property values. What have you seen around the neighborhood developing? Please comment below, let me know. I want to hear about it. For potential buyers, are the steep hills and the parking headaches worth the Main Street fun and the trail access? Drop your take in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you're trying to find your perfect Philly neighborhood to buy in, make sure you subscribe. We break down what it's really like to live in these places every week. And we talk about the honest take of it, beyond the hype of what you see in the news. So in conclusion, Manayunk's magic really lies in its contrast. It's historic but modern, it's urban but natural, it's buzzing with energy but still residential. It doesn't offer a simple, easy life, but it definitely offers a full one. It proves that maybe you can have it all, and as long as you're willing to climb a few hills to get there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.